Hello everyone, welcome to another team preview for the NFL 2020 season. Today we're talking about the New England Patriots. Let's begin. All right, sticking with the AFC East for now. We did the Buffalo Bills yesterday. Today we're looking at the Patriots, recapping their 2019 season. They were 12-4 overall. That's good enough for the playoffs. Offense ranked 15th in the league. They were 8th in passing, 18th in rushing. Defense was 1st in the league, ranked 6th against the pass and 2nd against the run. Bill Belichick enters his 21st season as the Patriots head coach, and in that time frame, he's established a 273-127 record. Wow. Snapshot of the last 4 years: 2018, 11-5, 2017, 13-3, 2016, 14-2, 2015, 12-4, and of course, there's 2 Super Bowls thrown in there, playoffs, and 1 conference title. So 3 conference titles, 2 Super Bowls, and 5 total playoff appearances in the last 5 years. What can you say? It's the Patriots. They do what they're going to do, and they're going to get to the finish line whether you like it or not. So last year for the Patriots ended on a sour note, and I don't think anybody really expected it to kind of go that way. I think I read a column the other day that said that Patriots fans, or New England fans in general, deserved a better Tom Brady ending rather than a pick 6 against Tennessee in the was it divisional or the wild card round of the playoffs? I believe it was the wild card round. But anyway, I didn't see that ending, and Patriots fans, I got to be honest with you, I did not really ever come to terms with Tom Brady going to play for another team. And I'm not a fan of the New England Patriots, but just seeing him in a Tampa Bay uniform is really weird. But like everybody else, I was kind of settled on Jarrett Stidham being the next quarterback of the New England Patriots, and thankfully I recorded this after the Cam Newton signing because I don't have to go back and make another video or do some edits because I'm in the time frame where he has already been signed to the Patriots and we don't have to really talk about Jarrett Stidham anymore. So RIP the potential for his career, at least for this year. It's funny because we'll get more into it in a minute, but the situation with backup NFL quarterbacks around the league is just kind of weird right now. And I think I'm going to do a video where I talk about, or maybe even rank all of the backup quarterbacks in the league, 1 per team, and see where it goes. But it kind of feels weird, doesn't it, a little bit right now? Anyway, so let's talk about the New England Patriots for the 2020 season. A lot of changes. The big changes, of course, Tom Brady is gone. Some other changes are they let a lot of veteran players walk on defense. They've got some new faces that they got through the draft to replace those old faces. This is going to be different. It's not really a rebuild year because I don't believe Bill Belichick is in the mood for a rebuild. He wants to win, and he wants to win now, and he wants to win forever. So I don't think rebuild. I think rebuild is probably almost a curse word in New England, if you will. So taking a look at the schedule for the season, it looks like your basic Patriots schedule where they're going to pull off some wins against good teams, and they're going to beat the teams that they need to beat. Starting with the home opener against the Dolphins, then we got a road game in Seattle. Come back home to face the Raiders, and then on the road against the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Then we got 2 home games against the Broncos and the 49ers, and then at the Bills and at the Jets to round out the first half of the season with the bye week coming in week 6. That's a pretty tough first half of the schedule, but I'm not going to really dwell on it all that much because it's Bill Belichick and it's the New England Patriots. I expect them to do what they've always done, come storming out of the gates, start 4, 5, 6, maybe 7-0. And have a really good record heading into the second half of the season. The second half of the season starts off with a matchup against the Ravens at home, and then they go to the Texans. Cardinals come to town, 3 road games, with the Chargers, Rams, and Dolphins, and then end the season with the divisional rivals home games against the Bills and the Jets. So the second half of the season is kind of what I'm more interested in, only because of weeks 13, 14, and 15. That's 3 straight road games in warm weather stadiums. Now, if maybe it's just recency biased, but typically when you talk about the Patriots going down to play Miami later in the year in that sort of weather, they tend to not do very well, and no team really does very well in that sort of climate, so maybe they get a pass for that. But 3 straight games near the end of the season, they're against teams that should be a little bit more competitive than they were last year. The Chargers still have some, I think, room to grow on me because I don't know who the starting quarterback is going to go in heading into the season. Is it going to be Justin Herbert? Is it going to be Tyrod Taylor? I'm not quite sure, but the defense is still really good and it's still a really good roster. So they should give the Patriots at least a game out of it. So 3 straight road games in warm weather temperatures, warm weather climates. It's not really anything too. I'm basically, you know, pulling hairs here with trying to come up with reasons why things could go south. And that's just one of the things that sort of stood out to me. But you got 2 home games against the Bills and the Jets to end the season. The Jets are definitely a winnable game. That should be a team that they sweep absolutely out of this schedule. Just taking a look at how they fared. I mean, we know that they go at least 11 wins almost every single year. I think, what was it, in conference play? Hold on, let me check my notes real quick. In conference play, they were 8-4 last year. Division, they were 5-1, and at home they were 6-2. So this sets up to be a pretty decent schedule for them. I think they should definitely come away with at least 10 wins. I'm not going to try to figure out every team's win-loss record for this year as a preview because I don't want to keep track of 32 records. That's just too much work. But I do think that there's 10 wins here on this schedule. They'll probably get 12 because of who they are and who their coach is. Taking a look at the roster, I know this isn't going to translate too well visually because of my limited space and how I have this set up. I know it looks like I have them running a 3-4 defense right now, but trust me, this is a nickel package. And the offense, of course, I couldn't split a tight end here and then a wide receiver way out there. I would just need to... I thought about doing this where I would do the stats and the schedule and then transition to another clip where I have the whole board as just the roster, but that's way too much work. Let's do it this way. It's fine. Listen to me justify it in a video. That's funny. All right, so let's take a look at the roster. Starting on the offense with the offensive line, we've got Isaiah Wynn at left tackle, Thuney, Andrews, Mason, and Cannon round out the offensive line. Cam Newton is the new signal caller. I don't really foresee a quarterback competition. I don't think Jarrett Stidham is going to be able to beat out Cam Newton. Even if he is injured, I just don't think it's going to happen. Plus, the preseason has been cut in half. There's only 2 preseason games to work with. Does Jarrett Stidham have the advantage of having been in the system longer? Yeah, sure. But let's face facts. I mean, he was a 4th-round pick, right? He's a second-year player, 4th-round pick with barely any experience. You have Cam Newton, so former MVP, who's only 31 years old. And according to the videos on the internet, he looks pretty healthy. So I think Newton has the starting quarterback job on lock, and he's got a really cheap contract for it. The running back position, have Sony Michel penciled in as a starter. Of course, James White is the absolute threat in this system. With James White, you sort of punt the rushing category, but you pick up big time on the receiving category, and that's really what this offense is built around as a pass-catching running back. James White had 72 receptions last year. Julian Edelman had 100, and then nobody else had more than 29. So James White is an integral part to this offense, and he's absolutely going to be in there more often than not. But just from a depth chart perspective, I have Sony Michel in there, who I really like as the lead running back in terms of carries. We have new faces at tight end this year. They spent 2 draft picks. Ossie and Keene will probably be rotating in and out. I have Ossie penciled in as the starter, just projected. For your wide receivers, we have N'Keal Harry, Julian Edelman, and Mohamed Sanu. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This wide receiver group is not great. N'Keal Harry underperformed as a wide receiver. Sanu didn't contribute all that much. As I said, you know, nobody had more than 29 receptions other than James White and Julian Edelman last year. So, and they've had failed experiments at wide receiver for a number of years, Antonio Brown being the latest, and Josh Gordon. So they need some production somewhere out of this wide receiving group that's not named Julian Edelman. Maybe it'll be one of the tight ends. They invested a lot of draft capital in tight ends this year. Maybe one of those guys pans out. But as far as the wide receiver groups, we really need to see N'Keal Harry step it up and do better this year. And Mohamed Sanu needs to be more involved. I think maybe with Cam Newton coming in, this offense should change, and we should see more passes going to the direction of other receivers not named James White. At least I would hope so anyway. All right, so moving on to the defense, we have Guy Allen and Winovich up front. I know what's his name is on the roster, Simon, but I went with, is it Simon? Hold on, let me check my depth chart here real quick. Yeah, John Simon. I know he's on the roster, but I went with Chase Winovich for more of the potential of 5.5 sacks in his rookie year as a sub-pass rushing role. Anfernee Jennings, Hightower, and Josh Uche from Michigan are your linebackers. Really, I really like the Uche pick. I really, really do. And I also hope to see Derek Rivers play a little bit this year. I hope he's still on the roster. Let me check real quick. I'm sure he is. And then your secondary, which is one of the best in the leagues, we have Jackson, Chung, McCourty, Gilmore, and Jones in the slot. That is a look at your 2020 New England Patriots projected depth chart, if you will. And of course, it could go a number of different ways by the time the season actually rolls around. But that's what I think you're going to be looking at. And of course, it is one of the best secondaries in the league. You could even have McCourty in there as the slot corner as well. Probably spell Jackson more often than not. And Stephon Gilmore is probably one of, if not the best corner currently in the game. So that is the Patriots. Now let's talk about the three big keys to their season. Number one, the running game. This is a pretty interesting stable of running backs. You have Sony Michel and James White that we've already talked about, and the rest of them are collectively a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none type of unit, if you will. If you could mesh Sony Michel and James White's skill sets into one running back, you would probably get Christian McCaffrey. Maybe. That's a maybe. I don't know if Sony Michel's running ability is on par with Christian McCaffrey just yet, but James White and Christian McCaffrey are probably interchangeable when it comes to the passing game. Maybe. Don't take my word for that. Whatever. So what are they going to get out of this running game? Is it going to be better than it was last year? Can Sony Michel stay healthy? That is the most integral question heading into the season. Then for the second big key is the front seven on defense. A lot of changes this year. They've like I said in the beginning of the video, they let a lot of their veterans walk, and they've also have to replace their head coach for the offensive line. So there's big changes coming in the trenches. And how is that going to translate on game day? And it'll probably be fine because Bill Belichick runs his defense for game-specific scenarios. So each week you're getting a different look. So it should be okay. And for the last one, we talk about a lot with this being the post-Tom Brady era, but we also should talk about this being the post-Steven Gostkowski era because they have a new kicker in town. And they went through 3 of them last year after Gostkowski got hurt. And, they drafted this kid, Rohrwasser from Marshall. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not. And this is one of those situations, as a Vikings fan, I can tell you specifically when you draft a kicker, like we did with Daniel Carlson, it doesn't always work out because there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to this. So hopefully your guys' special teams, at least in the holding department, is a lot better than ours was. Our kicking situation didn't get settled down until we signed Colquitt, and now it's a lot better. So that'll be something that we need to look at as well because the Patriots do win a lot of games by the skin of their teeth and with last-minute field goals. So we'll see how it goes. So that's it. This video went kind of long, but I had a lot to talk about. The Patriots are a very interesting team this year. Very, very interesting. Is it going to continue to be the dynasty that we know it has been for the last 20 years? We have a new quarterback. We've substituted one MVP for another. The first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback is now in Tampa Bay. It's strange. This is a strange time to be a Patriots fan. You're used to all the winning. You're accustomed to the Super Bowls and the playoffs. I still think that all of those things are attainable. As long as Bill Belichick is your head coach, I think you can reach for the stars and hope for the best. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I got to reach way up here to stop it.